good Lord, this thing's over. And I'm not talking about the season.
What?
No.
Good Lord.
It's not that.
Oh, you mean the Ohtani chase. You're right. The Giants' season is over.
You could make that case if you would like.
What's more over, the Niners' quest for the 1 seed or the Giants' upcoming season?
Neither. Neither.
Which one's more likely to be over? The Niners get the 1.
Yeah.
The Giants' season's already over.
No, stop.
They're done.
Stop it.
They shouldn't even play.
Stop it. You didn't think no one thought they were getting Ohtani.
You did.
No, I didn't. I thought that it was like they were a team out of the 6 or 7. Like,
right.
Ohtani makes weird decisions. He picked the Angels one time. He's a weird dude. He's different. He finally did something that's not weird. Like when he was going to pick Toronto, I was like, dude, I like the guy. He makes weird decisions. He's like, I got an idea, Angels and Canada. I'm like, this guy's different. Turns out he's not different. Fine. He's a Dodger. I didn't really have my hopes pinned there. Here's what I am talking about. And listening to these guys all day, they did a great job sort of laying it out. But this is where this conversation needs to go with regard to the 49er quarterback. And I'm not talking anymore. We already did this 6 weeks ago. We're like, talk to us in February 2025. The 49ers have their quarterback. You don't even need to discuss this or think about it until then. But now we need to push this a step further. You've got open campaigning going on by teammates for MVP. And the MVP is not what we're all after this year, even though I firmly believe if the vote happened right now, he would absolutely win the award and should. But there's still 4 more games to go, and we're going to see what happens. But that's sort of the backdrop of the larger issue, which is whether or not Brock Purdy should sort of like be allowed in the party. And is Brock Purdy worth the numbers that he's putting up, which are historic? They're historic. So as I'm listening to that conversation, even Guru starts the show off and he goes, all right, Steiny, where are you on Purdy? And I'm like, where could anybody be? So that's my question today. Why isn't everybody in the same spot with Brock Purdy? I don't understand the debate. What is it? We're past draftism and his size. Sure. Okay, but Kurt Warner, as I mentioned, is on my mind. I don't remember that. I don't remember, but he had Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, and I don't remember that. So what's different in 2023 than 1990, whatever the hell that was?
A lot is different.
What is
Social media is one, and the fact that every game is on TV and everybody can watch every game and every snap and everything's shared on social media, and so you can see all of it and all of the hype and the conjecture and the prognostications and all the rest of it. That's what we all do now, and the availability of information is much higher than it was back when Kurt Warner played. Kurt Warner played in an era where sports talk radio was just starting. There was no internet, there was no social media and all the rest of it. So,
sorry, there was no internet?
There was early days of internet.
Yeah.
To me, the internet started in about 2000 as a general way to...
You're probably right. I mean, I remember being in college in the mid to late 90s, and we had to walk all the way down to the library to send an email. And we would check our email maybe once every 3 weeks.
In terms of the internet, I'm talking about social media.
Sure.
For the most part. And the ability to, Google anything. And, you had the Ask Jeeves era. And we had search engines such as Lycos and all the rest of it. Hotwire. And, that was when it was kind of the Wild West of the internet. Late 90s, early 00s. But that was about when Kurt Warner was playing. And so he was not subject to all of everything that we have now, which is every play. Like, think about the Patrick Mahomes, Kadarius Toney thing from last night.
Sure.
That thing's been shared millions of times.
What's your take on that, by the way, real quick?
What part of it?
Do you agree with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that was a mistake on the part of the officials?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird deal for them to complain.
It's a pretty easy call.
Yeah.
And especially when you know that this year in the NFL, it is a point of emphasis, the neutral zone. And they've really tried to focus on the neutral zone as an area. And he is so far offside.
He's in front of the neutral zone. Yeah,
he's a yard offside.
Totally.
And the whole thing about the ref should have told him like it should have been a check with me. The check with me is normally when you're too far off the line.
Well,
that's when you look and the ref will go move up.
It's also initiated usually by the receiver.
Correct.
The receiver has to look at the official and give him a point. Am I good? And the official will tell you, no, you're not good. You need to move up or you need to move back.
Yeah.
And
usually it's a move up situation.
There was none of this. For me, that was
joke.
That was residue from the non-PI call against the Packers the week before, which the Chiefs handled really well, but it could tell that they still were feeling frustrated.
Right.
And so that's why they were upset again. But
they got
wrong time.
They got the call right before that against the Packers on the personal foul when Mahomes was still in bounds. Okay. I thought it was just a terrible look by Mahomes.
I agreed. I thought it was the first time in his career that there's been pushback on Patrick Mahomes.
Crazy.
Like this Kermit the Frog, perfect player, Super Bowl champ. No one's ever come at Mahomes for anything.
Right.
Last night was the first night.
It's a shame.
Not a big deal.
No.
It's not like, oh my,
And then Andy Reid doubling down. I get it. You got to defend your player. And that makes sense. But
anyway, back to the I mean, that's what you're saying is completely, I think, fair and accurate with regard to the social media effect of this. However, maybe that presupposes that social media actually shapes the opinion of people. And maybe that's obvious. Maybe it does. But it's like, I don't even think that opinion existed back then. Do you know what I mean? I want to know why there's a question. I don't care if he's got good teammates. Why does that matter? Why has that ever been a thing before? A lot of people have good teammates. I don't care what he would do if he were on an island by himself. Would it be the same as other players? Like, why can't we just go back to the world of reality? I'm sick of these conversations that are all what would happen, ignoring what is happening.
Right.
Just go with that. Why isn't everybody on the same page here? I don't think there are 2 pages. There's 1 page. He is the quarterback of the best team in the league, and his stats reflect that he's having an historic season. And he's flipping fantastic. If you watch the games, you're not allowed to have another opinion. You can't. How can you?
Right.
Dink and dunk? No, disproven. Everything that people say has been disproven. Now, if you do want to focus on teammates, fine. But didn't Peyton Manning have Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne?
Right.
What are we doing?
Every good quarterback ever had good teammates.
Edgerrin James? I never heard that.
Dan Marino had Mark Duper and Mark Clayton.
The Marks brothers, exactly.
Right.
So why now? Why are there multiple opinions?
It's because of where he was drafted and the coach he plays for and the talent around him.
But even that, those guys, Dan Marino played for Don Shula.
Yeah, good little coach. Sure.
What is it? Joe Montana played for Bill Walsh. Why Kyle?
Now, are those opinions still out there after yesterday?
Yes, absolutely. Did DraftKings come out today with Dak is ahead of Brock in the odds for MVP? It's not close.
Yeah.
That was the first team with a winning record that the Cowboys have beaten all year. And it comes on the heels of them being exposed, as I tried to tell you 2 weeks ago. They're not as good as their record suggests they are. They're not.
You called it.
Their defense stinks.
Great call.
Their defense stinks. So, great. Dak's having a great year. I'm not taking anything away. He's in it. Lamar's in it. It's not over. But the vote, if it were today, of course it's Brock. My gosh, the guy's going to break records if it ends this way.
Well, and you look up now, and he's quietly number 2 now in total yards.
Total yards.
So no longer can you look at, they don't throw it that much, and therefore, he can't be whatever. He's a good system guy and all the rest of it. He's number 2 in yards, number 1 in rating by a long shot, number 1 in QBR, number 1 in completion percentage. So when you look at all of the measurables, all the stats that you want to look at, he's far and away the best quarterback in football this year, and then he's on the best team. So normally, you want to look at a guy who, if you're on the best team, then you're going to get my vote. Well, he's on the best team, and he is the best quarterback, so he's the MVP.
Yeah, that's how it works. We didn't make the rules.
And even if Tyreek Hill at this point goes for 2,100, 2,150,
I don't know.
I still think that this case is so strong that even Tyreek, if he did like something truly extraordinary.
What if they win out? You know what I mean? The Dolphins do have an interesting schedule the rest of the way.
So 13-3.
Well, 14-3.
My fault.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? No, but
forget.
I mean, not just that, though. You're talking about some high-profile stuff. They've got Dallas, Baltimore, Buffalo are their last 3 games.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to have primetime stuff over the holidays. You put up a couple 200-yard games, whatever. The Dolphins go 14-3. You legitimize your spot. You're the 1 seed in the AFC. I don't think it's out of the question. He's on the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's on the board with,
For sure.
with Lamar, Dak, and Brock. That's the board.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen's case has suffered dramatically over the last 2 weeks, and I do think that Lamar has a great case, in part because that team is so fun to watch.
They're
and
good.
again, yesterday, we've talked about
God.
this. Baltimore is an absolute thrill ride. Baltimore's Disneyland.
I can't wait for Christmas night.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Those are the teams.